Audio's on? Yep. Sweet. Hey everybody, welcome back to Purposeful Armament. I know that our chat is probably not full. There's probably not a lot of people watching this instant, but this is going to be a VOD afterwards, so just want to make sure that we're clear with what's going on.
And we'll announce a couple times throughout.
Yeah. You have your microphone on? Where's your mic at?
I do. It's underneath the shirt, so it looks nice.
Oh, bro, you are...
Because I'm not a plebe.
Crazy. Anyways, so today we're going to be testing out a new format. Okay, this is going to be kind of cool. We're going to do a live stream. We had our sunrise debates.
Great success.
Yeah, we had our sunrise debates, which were really fun. Good debates. There were good comments. So we thought, hey, let's try and do it as a live stream. It might be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun. So we'll post it up. We're going to do the first 30, 45 minutes, maybe, probably about 30 minutes will be Jacob and I just kind of chatting.
We got a definition of posted up.
Well, we're literally sprawled out, backs against the wall, just chilling.
I don't think that means posted up then.
Well, we're not getting into the debate yet. Okay? So,
if anything, we're backed into a corner.
We are in a corner. We got our wonderful volunteer producer who is going to be controlling the cameras and making sure things are good. By the way,
he's going to be fielding comments.
I can see whenever you switch cameras, it gives me a light.
Nice.
That's the one that you can grab so far.
Do what?
The mic peak.
Does it sound bad?
Not terrible, but...
Can you just drag the slider down a little bit?
I don't think it sounds terrible.
That's not bad. Whatever, regardless, we got a producer back in the truck. He's going to be helping and making sure the cameras switch and all that kind of fun stuff.
How do you know the camera switches? Is it because it's red?
Yeah, you see that red and with the red light, and then this, whenever he goes to this, it'll go red. Switch to the other camera, Toby.
Red light.
Yeah.
I see the red outline.
I know. Yep, switch it to this one. See, this one's red, that one's green.
You know, it'd make a lot more sense if the green one...
That's typically not how it works, and you can go back.
Oh yeah, this is our first time, and this is not how typically things work, so...
Yeah, so basically, as I was saying, kind of what the idea is, we have a patron, Ed. I hope you're watching by now, but we have a patron, Ed, and
we'll give him time.
We have...
Am I going to get banned if I bring out a knife?
Probably not.
Okay, good.
But we have... We've been trying to figure out ways that we can kind of like give our Patreon something cool, and I think that maybe doing some exclusive stuff on a live stream would be a little bit better, so we don't have to like gatekeep content.
Yeah, gatekeeping is dumb because everybody deserves the info.
Exactly. So we don't want to do that necessarily. So, anyways, yeah, Toby is also going to be looking at comments and stuff, and he's going to be trying to.
Is there an instance where gatekeeping is good?
No, and we're not debating this.
I'm just curious.
Toby is going to be fielding your guys' questions. So feel free to ask questions. If we don't hit them immediately, we'll hit them later on. So you want to just start?
Sure. What's the first topic?
First topic is going to be the ports.
What, homeless people?
No. First topic is going to be... First topic is going to be talking about people who say their guns or their gear or whatever that is cheap is just as good as...
Oh, you mean the people who lie to themselves?
Yes. It's not going to be much of a debate because I think you and I both agree. But let me play out what I think first, and then I'll let you...
I definitely have a line where I draw, but yeah, let me hear you out first.
So what I think is, number one, everyone should have a fighting, life and liberty, whatever, self-defense rifle, and a fighting, whatever, self-defense handgun. You good? Okay, you're just looking at me like...
He has those puppy dog eyes. It's hard not to look at him.
No, literally just do whatever you want. I'm looking at the things. That's why they're facing this way. So I know if I look at this one and it's not on, I need to look at this one.
All right.
I trust you, all right? Have confidence in yourself. Have confidence in yourself.
All right, let's get to that.
Patrick's asking a lot.
So, fighting rifle, fighting handgun. These should be guns that are guns and gear and equipment and optics that are able to withstand, for for lack of a better term,
Duty
combat.
use?
Duty use. Exactly.
Okay, whenever you say you need to have both a fighting rifle and a fighting pistol, whatever that, is quantified by, can people make the assumption that whenever you say fighting pistol, that it is also their carry pistol?
Yeah. See, yeah.
It could be the same thing,
Yeah.
but is it always the same thing?
Not always.
So you're saying that even if you have a concealed carry, you should have, in addition to also a fighting pistol?
It depends.
Adult diapers?
I will give you an example of how it depends.
Okay.
If your carry gun is an M9A4,
That's a very particular gun.
you can use that for concealed carry, and you can use that for what I would say, I guess like a fighting. It's weird to quantify, but like outside the waistband.
Is your big
In a
factor
scenario.
for fighting pistol barrel length?
No, it's about like I have a Glock 19. I would consider that a fighting handgun. Surprisingly enough, the SIG 365 XL. I would
Do
probably
not tell me.
consider
dude.
that a fighting handgun too.
No,
100%.
not at all. I would not carry that thing on the outside of my waistband.
I mean, I wouldn't want to, but I think that
No,
you
I
could,
think it's
and it would fit.
very dependent upon barrel length.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, hold on. There's several factors that go into play whenever you toss out the phrase fighting rifle and pistol.
Just to let you know before you go down this rabbit hole, we can debate that if you want, but the essence of what
we
we're
haven't even
talking
gotten to
about-
the topic that we're actually debating.
yeah, the topic that we're actually trying to talk about is
Okay. My apologies. I like to
People who-
debate everything.
Yeah.
So,
like someone we know.
true. I on that note, I don't just fight Patrick on everything that he says, because there are quite a few things that we do agree on. However, I still have my own opinions, and they're based on logical steps that I took from information that I've gathered both from research and from my own personal experience. Instead of, if I know who you're talking about, instead of
don't go
just
too wild.
going off what somebody on the internet said.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're on the same page then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's
So
the
let's-
first topic we're going to
let's-
touch on with the pores and this whole
let's-
thing?
What I was trying to get at is your fighting handgun or rifle, whatever that means to you. It could be your CCW, whatever that means. It doesn't matter what it means. It needs to be something that's high quality, that you can depend on to save your life or someone else's. So I'm talking
at
like
any point in time.
at any point in time. So I'm talking like you should be buying, yes, they're more expensive, but you should be buying things like Daniel Defense, Triarch if you want to go overpriced and way too long of a lead
Some
time.
people would say that Daniel Defense is overpriced.
Whatever it means, you got to get like, LWRC, BCM is a good one. Those kind of companies, or like
You're going to get
SIG,
hate in the comments because BCM.
SIG to certain degrees.
Their
Glock,
rifles are pretty decent.
Sure. Glock.
If we're talking about fighting
Beretta.
utensils. Yeah.
Whatever it is, right? They
Sure.
need to be like, I would argue they need to be battle proven, quite frankly. If you're
You're
gonna fight with
talking, they should have your criteria on somebody saying, because we can go the exact opposite way too.
Mm-hmm.
The just as good crowd has a dichotomy of, they ignore all fact based on the very loose thing that, it was in battle before. Quite genuinely, it was in a war before, so I'm going to run with it.
That is true. Something like the Mosin Nagant, for instance, if you haven't shot one of those before, they suck ass. I would not recommend having them. Sorry, we're not
That's
supposed to
really
curse.
funny.
They suck. They're just not good.
Your definition of suck is probably different because you're basing it off of rifles that not a whole lot of people have.
It's a good rifle.
It's maybe not the most ergonomic thing in the world.
It's a good rifle, but it's a bolt action rifle that holds 5 rounds.
And it also holds rounds that are very, very not common.
Not common in America.
7.62 by 54R is not common.
Yeah,
at all.
exactly. But like something like that, yes, it was used in a war. But
It doesn't mean
shouldn't-
that it sucks, though.
It doesn't mean that you should be running that as like a self-defense tool.
Sure.
It just,
But there are guys right now who are like, they have their eyeballs glued to the war that's going on in Ukraine right now, and they're like, "Oh my God, hollow suns were used on top of machine guns." And like, well, okay, but you should
Is that
still
the best thing?
Yeah, you should still be doing your own research. Like, they're fighting a war because that's all they can get their hands on.
Yes.
And just because people have
yeah.
money and use the top of the line stuff doesn't mean that's the best either. Like,
No, like the Trijicon SRO,
hot garbage.
hot garbage, and that's like a $600 pistol optic.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, sorry to digress, why are pistol optics red dots $600?
It's literally just a laser pointer
That
that shines onto glass and then happens to emit in
it's
parallel
perfect.
fashion to the barrel.
We're talking 1940s technology that is still $600. It's crazy. But regardless,
Shout out to Cyelee for providing some budget options.
yeah, Cyelee actually decent. Not all of them, but some of them are pretty good that I would recommend.
Well, there's just a certain point of the technology that they haven't quite gotten yet.
Yeah.
Their optics, for the most part, are really good, except for whenever you branch into the multi-reticle family.
Yeah. But like that's to be said. Like, yeah,
We're
those-
deviating a little bit.
Yeah, but like, well, that gets back into the kind of the
The
just as
discussion
good.
of like,
Yeah, because people
a lot
would
of people
say,
would hate on Cyelee.
yeah, people would say, oh, Cyelee suck because they're not Trijicon or they're not, well, even Holosun or they're not EOTech or whatever it is. And are those necessarily the markers of something that's good? Not really, because Trijicon can make some pretty crappy stuff, like the SRO.
But they also make really good stuff.
They
like
also
the
make really
RMR.
good stuff, sure. Aimpoint, oh yeah, Aimpoint has the
T1 and the T2 were really, really popular.
yes, and those are good, but the acro, I don't like the acro. I
Yeah,
think
there's
the
also
acro
been a
is-
lot of issues with like moisture problems with those. A lot of people have been saying, I haven't had my hands on one, but just hearing from it, like the amount of times I've heard somebody complain about moisture issues with an acro compared to like, what is the Holosun version? The ECS?
ECS carry
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like you also shouldn't base your entire like
Enclosed
thing on,
compact something. What
I
does
don't
ECS
know.
stand for?
I don't know.
No? Okay. They have a carry option, they have a non-carry option.
Sure.
And it's just a bigger window.
Sure, but the
Sorry.
point is that like you also shouldn't base it off of a certain company who's making it, because
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you just fanboy for a particular manufacturer, then you're kind of leaving the logical thinking in their lap.
yeah. And I'm not saying that Aimpoint is bad or Trijicon is bad or EOTech is bad, but they've made some.
They make good and
Does.
bad products. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that can be applied in the same exact way with a company like Cyelee, or even a company like, I don't know, what's another Chinese? I mean, Holosun.
Holosun's made good and bad. I will say
Holosun
this:
makes
I
good and
will
Sick.
crap on the HS 507 comp just a little bit because it has one flaw. I don't know why they designed it like this, but the glass, it's one of the only optics that I know of currently, from my knowledge, don't take this as fact, it's one of the only optics that I know of that has glass that protrudes past the protective wall of the shroud.
Yeah.
And it means you shouldn't be racking it off of concrete because you're going to hit the glass first and
Right.
not the shroud.
Sure, I would say to counterpoint
It's a
that,
competition optic, so
It's a
you shouldn't
competition.
even be doing that anyway. But for the guys who carry comps, I don't know who would do that.
Yeah, they're a psycho, whoever that is.
Uh,
But that, you know,
they have their pros and cons.
I think that we've nailed it. It's just like, don't necessarily simp for a company. Don't necessarily just dog a company because of its name, but actually like go out and do the research.
Okay, we're saying not to do this, but can we, just from our own experience right now, dog a particular company where just like everything they make is garbage? I've got a company in mind right now that I know every single thing I have touched from this company is just like, I hate it because it breaks.
Feyachi,
Not Feyachi, Feyachi.
Feyachi. That's right,
Yeah,
Feyachi.
Feyachi makes a lot of shotgun ammo. That's the only thing that I know they make. They probably make pistol ammo too. I don't know. But Feyachi, Feyyachi, every single product I have laid my hands on from them, it breaks, and it is not worth it.
Yeah,
They're cheap as heck for a reason, because they suck.
yeah,
They're meant for airsofters, and barely that.
true. But even with that being said, I think that
Is
we
there a
can say
brand that makes constantly good stuff?
maybe like Knight's Armament, but even then, I'm just like, some of their suppressors are just kind of ass. comparatively.
You're talking about CAC?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't had much hands-on with them.
I think every company can make something good and bad.
It's not to say that like there isn't a potential lemon in the model lineup, but just like across the board, they have just consistently made good products.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Every Christensen Arms rifle that I've shot has been really good.
I
don't know a lot of Christensen. I know
Yeah.
I've shot 3 Christensen Arms rifles. So.
Yeah. Well, let's bring this into PSA.
Oh god.
They're often seen as the
kind of the epitome as
the
the
epitome
just
of
as
the
good.
pores. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then just
For the
as
modern
good.
day. Yeah.
So I'll say this, and then I want to hear your feedback on it. Up until very recently, we had an internal business thing that happened with PSA that I don't want to bring up. I don't want that to affect my view of it because, yeah, it was PSA, but it wasn't necessarily PSA product. And like,
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the quality of the product by any means. It was just how things got handled.
yeah. So
That set aside for us internally at Purposeful Armament.
Yeah, so I have a couple of PSA guns. I have
You got the AKV.
I have an AKV, and I have the Harrington and Richardson, which is technically a subsidiary of PSA. It's the 604, the M16.
Oh, H&R.
Yeah, H&R. Both of those have been fantastic.
Well, I am on the opposite side. I haven't owned quite a few, but I've had the displeasure of shooting quite a few. I do own 2 PSA lowers, and those haven't given me any issues.
I do have a PSA lower too, yeah.
But every single every single dagger that I have touched has had some sort of issues with it.
I've heard that too.
Every single one.
I've heard that, yeah. So I think
So what are you rooting back to here? So I interrupted you again.
what I'm rooting back to is
Where do you draw the line with PSA?
where do you draw the line with any company? Because a lot of people just shit on PSA just because it's PSA. And I'm just like, I've shot more rounds than a lot of these people shoot in an entire year in like the course of a weekend on these guns. And I've not had any issues. So I'm not saying that I should be like the arbiter of what's good and bad, but it's like, did PSA just get lucky and make a good product? Like a good particular unit, that specific serial number was good? Or did they just happen to kind of screw up?
Screw up
Every
on
other
the path
one.
to success.
But the one that I happened to get was really good. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer
we've had a
is.
couple talks about this on how do we truly review something and make sure that the review is good for the viewer. Because
Yeah.
that right there is a hard thing to do because you can put a X number of rounds on the pistol and somebody's going to come in and say, well, you should have put X plus 1,000. Then you would have been really good. No, okay, well, great. So we do that. And then we do that number. Somebody comes in and they're like, well, you should have done X plus 1,000 plus 1,000. And then you would have been right. You would have known that it was good. And like, what do you...
It's just,
what do you say? It keeps on going.
It'll
You
keep
never
going
know.
until it breaks. And then
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh, I fucking broke after my $3,000 AR. By the way, why are we making ARs $3,000? What the fuck?
That's a great question.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's probably because Knights Armament has... It's probably because they're selling
they know the
government
fans.
contract. They're probably selling government contract guns. And if you have a government contract and you sell the same like pattern to the consumer market, you have to sell it at the price you sold it to the government too. And we know how the DoD
Yeah.
likes to spend. That's what I
Not
figured
well.
out with the LTG.
Not well.
So, but yeah.
So let's answer the question. You said, how do we draw this line for kind of on the same vein? How do we review something and know it's good? And also, how do you guess singularly know that your pistol is good?
Yeah.
I guess I can answer this from my own personal equation of how do I know when I can start carrying a firearm. I've got my own personal process for whenever I get a new pistol. I will subject it to 10 different types of ammo that I'm fairly familiar with and just see what runs well out of it.
Sure.
Almost always there's going to be one type of ammo that just does not work well in it.
Sure.
But then for the most part, as long as 9 out of the 10 types of ammos worked in the gun, I'll usually default back to my normal ammo choice, which is usually Federal Champion. because that just seems to run good in anything. And then bare minimum 200 rounds. Bare minimum before I will start carrying the gun, so that way I know, this thing it's competent enough to handle, like,
So-
it passes in the point, at least in my mind, that like I know this isn't a lemon, but perhaps like the whole design isn't covered, and I know, oh, is this thing going to last 10,000 rounds, or is it going to fail at 500? So I'll keep on putting it on it. And I think we touched on this slightly about why I like owning two types of firearms that are the same vein.
Yeah.
It's like for a long while I owned two P320s. I'm going to get a ton of hate for that.
I know.
Especially now. I just got a 365 XL. I want to buy a macro or an AXG or a fuse,
The
something to complement
P365s are
it.
good.
It's, and that's, you kind of look at the consensus of what the community is saying, and you can get an idea of what's going on. But here again, your own personal experience, how you view life through your own eyes. Not everything matters when it comes to the community. There's a lot of people who sing praises of the SIG Cross. I've never seen any downsides, any negative views of the SIG Cross that have to deal with ergonomics or how it shoots. But that I had, and maybe this is off topic, I'm sorry, but I, for the longest time, really wanted a SIG Cross. 16-inch barrel, 18, 20, 24, didn't matter. I wanted it to be 308. It was going to have a really nice night force optic on top of it, the ATACR 1-8. It was going to be a really cool rifle. But the first time that I got my hands on one and shot it, I was like, holy cow, this thing sucks.
Yeah, well, it's very light, and you're shooting a pretty stout cartridge.
Yeah, you're talking about a rifle that is dang near the weight of my pistol fully kitted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stinks to shoot. And I differ from the community in that aspect, because a lot of people love and sing praises of the SIG Cross. But here I am, an outlier. I don't like it because of X reason.
And that's a really good thing to posit, and I think is really what we're trying to do as a channel. Let me think about how to word this for a second. Like you said, you never saw a negative review of the SIG Cross. Now, maybe you weren't looking in the right places or whatever. Who cares? But
yeah, sometimes whenever you do reviews, the algorithm will actually sway, because the algorithm's purpose is to get you to buy. So if you're like, reviews on the SIG Cross, maybe I did, maybe I didn't do this,
Sure.
but like, instead of trying to look up reviews, you should try to look up, what is it called? Return policy on a SIG Cross, and see why people are trying to return them. Yeah. And then maybe you'll find
yeah, because that's what I'm trying to say is, like, if you look at a review, well, what I'm kind of trying to get at is, even though we do reviews, and it's going to sound super, like, I guess biased or whatever, I think that we do reviews in a decent way. And what I'm trying to do in a review is figure out if the review, if this is good for the consumer base at large, right? I'm not just trying to say that, oh, this is good, so use my affiliate. But what I'm also trying to say is that you should do your own testing. I understand. I understand. Not everyone has the money to be able to purchase an
optic and then 2,000 rounds.
An optic and then 2,000 rounds and do it. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's why I'm trying to help people. But like, I mean, I hate to bring it back to this, but I remember when I got one of the first Cyelees, and I was using it, and I showed it to someone, and he looked at it, and he was like, "This sucks." And I'm just like,
"Why?
Why?" And he was like, "It just sucks." I'm like, "But why?" So try and develop your own understanding of why things are the way they are. Don't just listen to what someone says online, and that it goes for us too. Don't just listen to what we say online. I mean, you can take what we're doing, and then if you have the money, go buy the optic. Make sure you use our affiliate link too. I'm joking, of course. Go to our website and purchase them.
Yeah, we're always advocating that we put out the info, but that you use critical thinking as well before you make that purchase.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times, being that I'm responsible for the newsletters, I know because I wrote them, I will often tell people all of this is purely subjective. It is from my perspective. Yeah. And so, for the love of God, don't just read it and then go, well, yep, that's the next thing I'm doing. Because then we just turn into this simp company like people do for Trigicon, and that's not at all what we desire. Is like,
I will say, like personally, I don't really like the SRO. The RMR I don't really like the RMR either, but the RMR is good. The VCOG is good. The ACOG is good.
I haven't got to shut the VCOG, but the ACOG is pretty nice.
Yeah, they're really nice.
The VCOG is the LPVO, right?
LPVO, yeah.
Yeah, have not gotten the shot that one.
VCOG, all of those are great. I just don't like the SRO because I think they're super fragile and like way too expensive, and they're just...
Especially the cost effectiveness. Yeah, you look at it like $600, I can go buy a pistol for that.
Yeah.
I can go buy a SIG pistol right now. I could go buy my 365 XL for $600. Why would I want to buy an optic? That's that much.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, but at the same time, I see companies like, and I'm not trying to call out a company, but like Trex Arms. I mean, that's all they shoot
Is
is
this going to be good or bad?
SROs.
Oh.
That's all they shoot is SROs. And I'm sure, I believe Lucas enjoys that. I believe he enjoys it. The optic.
But maybe he's just not factoring in the cost effectiveness of it.
I don't think he's maybe not factoring that in. I think that in a very particular viewpoint, and I don't know what testing he has or hasn't done, and maybe the ones that are going to Trex Arms are better than the ones that are coming out. But
like Trigicon is swaying the gold premium SROs to be, prepackaged.
It gets really conspiratorial at that point. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
I have high regards for Lucas Botkin, so that is not at all a jab.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm trying to say, is that in a lot of ways, we know that Lucas really likes him, and I'm sure that he has valid reasons for liking him because he actually goes out and shoots and trains. He made the decision.
Ton.
Yeah, he made the decision. I like the SRO for whatever reason that might be. He made the decision. Cool. I shoot a ton, and I still have a Cyelee on top of my Glock, just because it's good enough for what I need it for. And that's another thing. I have a 507 comp on my 2011.
Do you carry the 2011 though?
I don't carry the 2011.
I
have another hollow
Cyelee,
sun on my carry gun. My MR920 is my carry gun, and I have.
You have the Ghost on it.
No, I have a
Bull.
No, hollow sun. The Ghost is on my Glock. I'm talking about my shadow system.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, my apologies. I'm not trying to be holier than thou then.
But I carried Cyelee, and I was fine. I felt comfortable carrying them. But
I'm not quite comfortable yet.
Should you?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer.
How do we
get to the root? Does this question have to be answered by every single person who buys a product?
No, but I will say that
no.
To narrow down back into, sorry, wrong camera. To narrow back down into what the topic is at large.
Oh, are we addressing the actual mindset of just saying like something is better?
Kinda, but I was gonna say like, in order to narrow back down into what we're talking about, which is the just as good crowd, obviously that mindset is wrong, but I have cheap optics on things and I have cheap guns that I just use as range toys that, you know what, they don't really work super well. That GSG 1911 and 22.
Oh yeah, everybody rants and raves about that in the short that's got 1 million views.
Oh yeah, everyone loves that thing. But is it good? Not really. Does it jam on almost every single mag at least once? Yeah. Do I care?
I think you should a little bit, but
I don't care. It's a range toy. It's a gun that I'm taking to the range to have fun with. But is it annoying that it jams and I can't get through a mag? Yeah, it sucks. But
he gets a lot of practice on how to clear a malfunction.
Training
tool.
There is that. But
train with 22. That is one of the topics that we're going to get into. So yeah, that's a valid point.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's going to make my job easier.
But like that's just kind of the thing. I think that I would advise. It's like, if you're buying a rifle, and I've said this in all my Cyelee reviews, if you're buying a rifle or you're buying a pistol and it's a range toy, it's a gun that you're taking to the range just to shoot. You already have your fighting rifle, your fighting pistol, whatever that means. You already have the appropriate sighting systems, the appropriate gear, whatever it is. If it's just a range toy, I do not care.
Yeah.
My AKV has a Cyelee on top of it. I think that the Cyelee Bull is ugly.
Very.
I think it looks ugly. It's super big. It's super fat. It's got those big fat wings. Why do I have it on there? Because I wanted a red dot, and it's going on a range toy. I'm not going to grab my PCC whenever there's a bump in the night. I'm not going to grab my PCC if, let's not go too crazy here. If I have to,
not going to grab a PCC for anything because
for anything. We'll say that.
Pistol calibers suck for a reason because they belong on pistols.
Yeah.
If you have a rifle-sized platform, you should be using rifle calibers. I think we both agree on that one.
Yeah, that's a different debate to get into. But what I
okay, so let me take the contrarianism point, just so that we're taking things logically here.
Let's hit this last point, and then let's move on to 22 pistols for training.
Oh, I didn't take the contrarianism point for the Justice Good crowd because I am kind of on the side of high and mighty on this one. I do not advocate for PSA.
Sure.
Okay. Did you finish your point? Because okay. Arrow precision, BCM, PCA, PSA. Oh God. What are the
DPMS.
really cheap ones? Yeah, DPMS.
Omni Hybrid, the plastic lowers.
Timberwolf, and like all those like.
Diamondback.
All right, those are like for sure.
Bad.
Range choice.
Yeah.
Whereas, something that I would be like, let's go. My first choice, prime choice, because I've thrown it off of roofs before and it still works and I love it. Daniel Defense.
Yeah.
My number one choice. And what's really great about it is that although it is the shortest barrel length rifle AR platform that I have, it is the most accurate. There's a reason it costs so much. It's because of that barrel. That barrel is insane.
Sure.
That's it. There's no other rifle that I own that is a range toy that can do the things that Daniel Defense can do.
Exactly. And that's why I was advocating for get the duty guns first.
I thought you were trying to draw this the distinction of like what brand.
No.
For me, that distinction,
For me,
should really be like, I guess we could kind of dive into like what is a MOA group that your rifle should hold.
Sure.
And again, here that's subjective. You know, it could be anything. There's some dude out there who's like, well, I can't hit past 100 yards anyway, so I can have a 10 MOA group and it wouldn't matter. Like, well, it kind of matters, but like for that particular dude, it doesn't. Whereas you could have some schizo who only goes to USPA matches who's like, oh, I need a gun that holds a .1 MOA group, and all he ever does is spend $20 million on a rifle, and it doesn't. He never trained. Like there's obviously somewhere in between where you can meet, and that's entirely subjective. But to have the mindset of saying this is just as good, it just ain't, because it can't do the things that the high dollar rifle.
No. I completely agree. I completely agree. To hammer down the point, just as good as stupid. It's not real.
Okay.
There's obviously a reason that Daniel Defense is more expensive than a PSA.
So can I prod your brain?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the bare minimum rifle for you? The cheapest, most cost-effective duty rifle that you would take and say, I trust this rifle with my life. You would throw it off this, where we're stationed here. We're about 5 stories up.
5, yeah.
You could throw it off this edge of, where we're at, and you'd still be fine using it. Like, maybe 5 stories is a bit much.
Probably BCM is the
Really? lowest. BCM?
Yeah.
I don't know if I included that list in, like, range toys. I don't think I meant to include it, but, like, BCM is, like, skimming the line for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but you asked what is the lowest that you would consider to, as you need this to work no matter what. BCM.
Okay.
That's the lowest.
And what would be your preferred?
I mean, I like my Triarch. I like your Daniel Defense. I've shot an LWRC before. I like that. To me, once you get over like $1,500 for an AR, you're kind of getting like the same thing for the most part.
Well, that's what Daniel Defense is. Like, that's a $2,800 rifle.
Yeah, but you can say that, like, there's differences in accuracy and stuff, and it for sure is. Are you good?
Yeah, so we do have a question here for you. Are you ready to dive into some of the
Yeah, send it right now.
All right, so Josh Krause ask, can I clear 37s without a bullet?
I guess it depends on what truck you're trying to put 37s on. If I know him correctly right now, he just bought a Power Stroke 7.3. And based on my knowledge, no, you would have to cut fenders in order to do that. So, F in the chat.
Okay, that was a good one.
Not at all firearms related, but all right, good.
Yeah.
First question.
There we go.
Hey, I
Good
mean,
deal.
send it, absolutely. But yeah, back on top. I mean, like,
Can I put 37s on my Daniel?
you probably can. You got plenty of clearance on that thing. But yeah, I mean, like,
Wow.
for me, an AR-15, like, unless I'm getting like something that's 16 inches or longer, and that I'm putting an LPVO on, and that I really want to be super precise, it can have like a combat effective accuracy,
Which means
like 2
4.
MOA,
Oh, okay.
maybe 4 MOA,
Maybe 4.
2 to 4.
And what are you basing
Well,
that off of? The 300 yard effectiveness?
Yeah.
Which means that you, the shooter, has to be better. Because 4 MOA means that, hypothetical situation, at 300 yards, a 4 MOA group is more or less about 13 inches. Let's say, and we divvy this in two because it's a range in which we could shoot. So like, here's our center point, and 4 MOA would be at 100 yards, so there's a little circle around here, but at 300 yards, you triple that. So 13 divided by 2, 6.5.
Yeah.
6.5
Yeah.
inches, however you define that.
Okay.
It's, you know, let's say you take the shot here, and hopefully the target is right in the center of that, and, well, the edge of the target is here, but 4 MOA at 300 yards, that bullet has the potential of grazing right past that target. It depends on how big the target is. Whereas 1 MOA grouping, the type of rifle, means that out at 300 yards, it'd be like a 3 1/4 inch group, which means your target's here, you hit dead center, it still has a chance to sway, but 3 1/4 divided by 2 is 1 5/8. 1 5/8, woo, just varies a little bit, but it still smacked the target.
Sure.
And that's just rifle effectiveness, not considering shooter effectiveness.
However,
shooter effectiveness is the
yeah,
first most
that
important
is
thing.
true. If you can't do 1 MOA, then like what's the point of having a 1 MOA gun?
Right. If you
I know
missed,
someone-
you already missed, but like...
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
You could take the crazy route of trying to do luck. You suck as a shooter, and you get this like 13 MOA gun that, like, even if you miss, it was so inconsistent that it lobbed a round to fix your error. But
I've seen someone at the range before who brags about how accurate his rifle is.
what brand is it?
Brags. What brand is it? I don't even remember. I think it was it wasn't a high tier brand. It was like a maybe an Arrow.
Arrows can be accurate. From my experience, they're just really particular about the type of ammo being used.
Well, the more particular point about it is that
Is this hypothetical person me?
no.
Okay, good.
It's not you. It's not you. It's someone else I've seen. They brag about how accurate the rifle is, and then we're at 100 yards, and
They put up a group
takes-
that's like 8 inches.
It took him, I'm not kidding you, 45 minutes to zero the rifle.
Dang.
And
Yeah,
he was
that's not
on
okay.
paper the whole time. Now, that might just be because he doesn't know the measurements or whatever, the clicks. But at that point, at 45 minutes going through like probably 2 magazines,
Good grief.
you're just not a good shooter. You're just pulling, you're doing whatever. And it doesn't matter if the gun is 1 MOA or not. Like, we had dudes at the range today, they don't follow us, so who cares? Dudes at the range today who were like not hitting at 300 yards with their
Well,
AR.
and they had been at 100 in the morning.
And they had great rifles.
So
They had great rifles. That dude had like a freaking telescope on the top of his rifle.
that's the part that I was most impressed with, because they went out and spent $1,500 on a really nice piece of glass.
Yeah.
It was a Bushnell something. It was like 45 power. Had not a lot of nice features on it. And even I was like, man, I kind of wish I had one, you know. But
And they get out a 300 yards, and the
And
guy
you
was
see
on
it
a
impacting
tripod.
dirt right, dirt left, high, low, and you're like,
On a tripod.
dang.
He was locked into a tripod.
I could understand being high, low, left, right on a small target at 300,
It was a full size.
but we're talking a full-size silhouette. You shouldn't be missing 16 by 30 or 18 by 32 inches. Like, that's a big target.
Dude, I knew a guy.
It's not moving.
I knew a guy.
Do
Yeah.
what?
Missing that much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
It was-
no,
that
I
was
could see
today.
how a lot of people would think like we're talking about like hitting like 6-inch plates or something.
No,
But
we're
no,
talking
we're
about
talking
full
about
size.
full-size silhouette things. Like you've got a lot of real estate to make a mistake and still graze
But
it
I
and get
think-
a ting, you know. But like
I think the point is that even if the gear is really nice and you just are bad, you're just
you're,
gonna be
you're
bad.
just gonna be bad. Yeah.
There's a dude that we know who, whenever he first bought his Staccato, he bought
Oof.
a Staccato. It was like, is the Staccato P? I think it's like $1,800.
You're gonna have to remind me, what is the Staccato P? Because I know there's a
It's
CS.
it's
and
a
there- is
four.
there a
I think
G?
it's a 475 barrel.
So it's almost a full size.
4.75 inch. Yeah, but 2011, right? It's Staccatos are.
What's the top dog Staccato?
I don't know, the CS something. I don't know that much
Oh, I
about
thought the
Staccatos.
CS was
I don't
the
give a
compact
shit about
one.
that. Maybe it is. Maybe the I don't fucking know. I don't.
Well, Staccatos cost like $3,000 for a pistol.
But hear me out. This dude bought a Staccato for like $1,800 ish. That's before shipping.
Still not a good price.
But he spent $1,800 on this, and I'm not kidding you. I watched him miss full-size torso targets at like 15 yards. I think you know who it is.
Oh well, yeah.
I don't know if he's watching.
Yeah.
If he's watching, leave a comment because you know who you are. It was crazy. It was insane, and I was like, dude, like, what the hell are you doing? like,
Did
what
you tell me the
actually-
story before that he stayed late and then he like
Yes,
put in the time and he actually did get a
He
little bit
did.
better?
I will admit, he did get
Did
his
his
shit
part.
together. And,
Yeah.
and sorry, we're not supposed to be cussing on this. He did get his crap together and really.
Don't cuss on my Minecraft Christian
He
server.
went hard, and I'll admit he put in the work, and he is a pretty good shooter now. He's a good shooter now, I would say. He's a good shooter. He's a competent shooter. But he bought an $1,800 gun, and it just didn't. Like, I think he. Was that a 320? Yeah, it was a 320. He had a 320. I know, the 320, whatever. He had a 320, and he just wasn't shooting it. And I get it, right? Maybe it didn't feel good for him specifically, but like, $600 gun that you can't hit with, $1,800 gun that you can't hit with, doesn't matter because you can't hit.
He got 3 times the trash.
He's
Yeah,
confident.
because he was trash shooting.
Yeah.
No,
He's
didn't
confident
work.
with it now. He
I
can
was
shoot
hoping
it
to get a
very well.
chuckle.
Now. He can shoot it very, very well now. But that's to go. Even if you have a what's up?
A few comments here, but we'll finish that comment.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna say it doesn't matter if your gear is good or not. If you suck, you suck.
Oh.
Hit us with the comments.
So really quick, who's the handsome guy in the camo?
Uh-oh.
But moving on. Brandon comments 4.4, and where is he now? I'm not quite sure with that.
4.4. He's a USPSA shooter.
4.4.
That's how long the barrel length is. 4.4 inches.
That's the thing he corrects.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, because he is admitting he did suck. Like he wasn't
okay.
good. And
No,
would hope-
no.
I would
I
hope
thought
that he-
at least he'd be insulting you or something.
No. Well, he said, where is he now? As in, I don't know. I think he's a B class shooter in USPSA.
No.
Which, like,
Okay.
okay. All right. Good job. I'm proud of you. I think that's what you need to
We need father figures.
do.
We need more father figures.
Yeah, we do.
What's up, Toby?
Last one that we've got right now. Josh asks again. So if I go out and buy an AR of any brand, does it come with an MOA rating?
What?
Does it
Say
come
that
with
one
an
more
MOA what?
So if I go out and buy an AR of any brand, does it come with an MOA rating?
An MOA rating. Yes.
Ooh.
If you buy an AR, it will give you an MOA number of what the rifle is capable of, but typically it's in very specific conditions.
They'll even provide you like the air temperature and the humidity that they did it in,
Yeah.
and the type of ammo, and
It's all, that's a whole nother thing. It's ammo dependent. It's
ammo
environment
is a
dependent.
huge factor in what the rifle actually
Whether
does.
your gun is clean or not.
Yeah.
A lot of times what they'll do for MOA is they will swab. I've seen people do this for new, like,
where
very
they'll
precise
shoot and then they'll
rifles.
swab and shoot again and then swab again.
I can
That's
see people
ridiculous.
But they literally put the gun. It's not even like a full built gun. It's literally just a barrel that they have this thing that clamps on.
And it's clamped into a
At least
vise.
one company I've seen does this. They literally shoot a bullet through the barrel, but it's just the barrel. I think that was actually an AK company, which is kind of surprising.
There's a company called MDT, and you've probably heard of them. They make ELR and PRS equipment, and from what I've seen, they're pretty cool. I don't own any of their stuff, but they make good content on YouTube. So shout out to MDT Chassis. You make good stuff. You entertained me. So, but one of their videos actually showcases the accuracy between.
We're getting funny looks from him. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry.
They showcase the accuracy between a stock and their MDT.
Yeah,
Stop.
that is true.
And
It's very, very
just the
dependent on
platform, just 2 screws that come up and hold your rifle from where it's positioned and where you lay the bipod and that where it comes down and rests on. That stock plays a fairly big factor on the consistency in which it delivers a group because of the human element. If it weren't for the human element, the stock wouldn't matter at all.
Yeah. So Josh, I think it was Josh, right, who asked that.
Yes.
So I would just say like
Most of the
take
time
it with
they
a
do.
grain of salt.
Yeah. So
Take it
like,
with a grain of
if
salt.
a company says it delivers a 1 MOA group, it's probably with really good ammo.
Well, what I would say is that put it on a relative scale. If you have PSA who's selling a gun that is at 2.5 MOA, and you have a company like Triarch, or Desert Tech, I know both of those promise a 1 MOA gun. I mean, it's on a relative scale, right? Then you could put like, okay, BCM
Well,
is
if
like
the
2.5.
if the
or
company
whatever.
is telling the truth whenever they publish that
Sure,
number,
Sure.
there's a lot of variability about that.
Sure.
Back
So,
in the 80s,
Grain of salt.
this is completely off topic, but like just to showcase like the weirdness about it. Back in the 80s, whenever car audio engineers were building amplifiers, whenever they said their amplifiers delivered 800 watts, back then it genuinely meant it could deliver 800 watts like all the time. And their peak values were actually like 1,500, 2,000, sometimes even like 3,000 watts. Like those numbers they were boasting were averages. That's how much power they're delivering. Whereas nowadays, you go and buy car audio equipment. I know this is completely off topic, but they use a completely different number. They're like, it sounds better if we use the big number. And then they'll be like, it's a 4,000 watt amplifier, but
Well,
it's
you
only
can
under
say-
specific circumstances, and it's actually like 250 watts at 4 ohms. And it's like, oh, well, then it's a piece of trash that like, if you overload it at 17 volts and you happen to get a for just a millisecond, like, oh, it actually did deliver, technically. But no, no. So companies do skew their results, and they're always going to try to like.
But if you come across a company like Desert
And this is
Tech,
where reviews come in handy.
yeah, but if you come across a company like Desert Tech that's known for having precision rifles,
Sure. Yeah.
not saying that you shouldn't trust reviews or anything and do your own research, of
Well,
course, but
reviews that are straight from manufacturer are often biased because they're trying to get you to buy it.
yeah, that is true.
And that's kind of the beauty of a company like us is that
Here, take this. Take this. What did SIG say about their 320s earlier this week?
Oof. What it is, or no, it's over.
It ends today, or it
Oh.
ends now, or whatever it was, right? And then everyone started memeing on them with NDs. Some of them were valid, some of them were just the person being a dumbass. But like, obviously SIG is not going to say, yeah, we're selling defective guns.
Yeah.
Are you stupid?
They
Like, no.
weren't humble enough to do that. So
Obviously, they're not going to say, oh, yeah, our P320 actually is kind of crappy. It just goes off whenever, and we need to redesign it. Or... No, they're not going to say that. It's a company. So,
But then you've got the flip
That's
side of
all.
the coin, like gray guns.
gray guns, yeah. But where does
They
gray
did
guns...
their own internal testing, and they said they haven't had a P320 go off.
So, where do we take that?
Reviews are crazy, and opinions are crazier.
Do you have more, Toby?
I can read them all.
Okay, so yeah, send it.
Brandon, just calling it again. I was not good, but I want to carry out the accessories match. When Caleb Sampson and Deborah are going back and forth with this. I wonder if he has a wife. He does have a wife. He's a very lucky guy. So
That's
Okay.
who said it.
Okay, yeah. Well, good for you, Brandon. I'm glad that you won your carry optics match. I hope you're
One of them.
carrying your gun.
Because that's kind of the whole point of the carry optics class is to be carrying.
Yeah.
I say that with a ginormous smirk on my face.
It would be crazy. I want to hit this and then I want to go into 22.
Okay.
But it would be actually crazy if you were competing in a carry optics division with a gun that you don't carry.
No, that's more or less what I was saying. Yeah.
Not trying to make fun of you, but like,
No, that's my. Obviously, this is my own opinion, but I think it's more based to carry a gun so absurd that it has to be in an open division because it is so absurd and so capable.
when Tristan told me that he carries an HK USP in 45,
That's an absurd on a different level, but I still respect it.
I respect it because it's freaking.
The HK USB is a ginormous gun. And for those of you who know me, I do carry a large pistol. It's an M9A4, not the Centurion. It is the full-size 5.1 inch barrel, I think. It's over 5 inches, if that matters to some people or not. But
I will say, like, you know,
what is the HK USB? Is it also 5 inch, but it's just so clunky? And so
I've got
big,
one in there. We can't pull it out on stream, but I'll show it to you afterwards.
I mean, I've held them before, but like in comparison, like they're just a little bit smaller than a Desert Eagle.
Yeah, they're big.
They're ginormous. So yeah, mega based, Giga Chad based,
Yeah, competitions are cool.
Giga
but,
Chad based.
You know, man, we've done a lot of video. We've filmed literally all day since you and I were at breakfast. Sorry, Toby. We were at breakfast at like 7 o'clock, and we were at the range at like 8:30 filming stuff all day. We've been at it all day.
Do you need to get a monster?
No, I feel great right now, actually.
Oh.
But what I'm trying to say is,
Doing better than me.
what I'm what I'm going for is having the guns and the gun skill is cool. But if we've learned anything today,
And then it
having all the
doesn't
other
matter
stuff.
if it's good enough, better than.
having all the other stuff is
No, hold on.
a lot better.
What was the initial thing we were trying to debunk? It's just.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's just as good, because if you suck, then you suck.
Okay, we've hammered that to death. We'll let Toby have fun reading some of that stuff. Let's hop into 22s for training tools. That was the last of our. That was our last newsletter, right? No.
Second to last?
Second to last.
Yeah.
So
Let me dive into it real quick because you brought up
hit
something
it.
really cool. And the first
hit it.
thing that we discussed was the GSG, which I think is an ugly pistol. I think most 22 pistols are,
it looks like a 1911.
which is ugly.
You actually might be
He hates me.
schizophrenic.
I don't like single action pistols, so there's that.
No. We're not talking about the action of the pistol. We're talking about the look of the pistol.
Yeah, no, I think that most 1911s are ugly.
Okay, just get on with it. We're talking about 22s.
I know. I just want to relish in this moment.
Hey,
This is the one thing that we pretty harshly disagree on.
I'm taking you off the partnership.
LLC burned.
I'm dissolving immediately.
PA just went under. This is what did it for the first quarter of 2025. The GSD is actually a pretty cool pistol because, well, number one, obviously, because it's cheap to shoot. But there's
That's a given with 22.
quite possibly one of the best features about it is that it jams. That doesn't seem like a feature, but if you have experience dealing with problems, whenever a problem arises, should it ever, if you have a proper duty pistol, you're going to know how to take care of it.
I'll
Because
give you
you've done it so many times with the 22.
I'll give you an anecdote. For those of you who do shoot, take someone new out to the range and
Watch them handle a gun.
watch them. Not only watch them handle a gun, but
Watch them handle a jam.
and do some malfunction. They're not going to know what to do. In fact, oftentimes what I would see is the person
They'll
will
make
sit
it
there
worse.
and they'll click the trigger, and first of all they'll like that, but second of all,
Which means they should work on their trigger finger because
immediately
they're dipping.
they're just like
Rip.
they hand it off to you,
Yeah.
or they lay it down and they don't know what to do. And not only is that not safe necessarily, well, I guess it's not safe or unsafe because the gun can't go off again, but like,
Well, depending.
but you see what I'm saying though, like, well, if you get a hang fire, but that'll be,
Follow the 4 gun safety rules,
yeah.
but that's not the topic.
But what I'm trying to say is that like if you watch someone who's inexperienced with malfunctions, even if you're good with guns and you don't know how to operate the malfunction, then you're going to be sitting there just kind of like, oh, what? And even like, I'll give you guys an example.
I've got an example right after his example.
We do competitions occasionally. I went to I think it was the first or second competition I went to. I was riding my slide stop pretty hard with my
I've been doing the same thing with the Beretta, and it makes it jam every single time.
Yeah, but I wasn't pulling down. I was like pushing up. So I would get the gun that would just stop, or like it would like short stroke. And
because you're putting so much friction on the slide.
Yes. And during the course of the competition, I'm so focused on doing all of this other stuff. Like I'm focused on running around and making sure I'm not breaking 180 and making sure I'm getting all the targets, because whenever you have
breaking 180 is a safety thing. You can't turn perpendicular past 180 past the stationing of the course, just for sake of those who are watching.
Sure, but
it's a dumb safety rule.
There's like, if you have like 20 different targets that you have to shoot, and like you can't see all of them because there's different positions you got to go to see.
And there's walls.
And you're trying to focus on doing that and moving and all that, blah, blah. I had multiple times. I can't overlay it now because we're live, but I've had multiple times where I just sat there and I watched myself just kind of like look at the gun, because I'm trying to process like, what?
Yeah.
And then I do the thing, but like that's just like I don't train malfunctions enough for it to be just
common sense.
Second
nature,
muscle memory, second nature, whatever you want to call it. It's not ingrained in me to do that whenever the gun goes. I know I'm not perfect, right? I'm not God, right?
Yeah. So there's an easy analogy that I can relate to this, because I know that some people who are watching aren't super into the guns, but this is a great analogy. Obviously, there's quite a big difference between the amount of times I've had to fix a car versus my wife.
Yeah.
And so whenever I hear a noise with the vehicle, I'm like, I know what that is. I'll top that fluid off.
Yeah.
Or I know what that is. I need to do X, And whenever I park, I'll go manage whatever. But then in like manner, the person who has never fixed that thing nor knows what it is, she's driving along and she's like, I heard a noise and I don't know what it is. Should I even drive the car? I'm not saying that ignorance is terrible, but the fact of the matter is that when you have experience with something, you don't fret. You don't. And maybe that's really telling. I've had so many car problems that I am okay.
You just buy crappy car after crappy. You just junkyard after junkyard after junkyard. Yeah, well,
this is actually the most reliable car I've ever had is my Crown Vic over there. It has been going now for over 2 years, and that is 2 years without a major problem. Yeah, because I've had vehicles for longer than that, and it doesn't mean that they're reliable. I had a Cummins and I had to put 3 different transmissions in it, and that was nightmarish.
Yeah,
had to rebuild the turbo. Had to rebuild those transmissions. Keep it on firearms. Sorry.
Let's focus back on what the
22
is. So we've nailed that it's good for inducing malfunctions genuinely.
And training malfunctions.
22 is just not a reliable cartridge, in my opinion. You can buy ammo that makes it more reliable.
It's a reliable cartridge. It's not reliable in the pistol actions it's shot in. It's not. Well, hold on. You say it's not reliable. I have not ran into any 22 whenever smacked that it doesn't go off. I have many a time ran into.
Crazy. Keep going.
Okay, I don't normally buy cheap types of. Like you mentioned, Winchester 22.
I'm buying Federal. Bro, we're in a city. You do not need to rev your turbo diesel.
I'm glad you knew what it was.
You're going to be okay. You will be fine without doing that. But like you said, 22 is cheap. Even if you're buying good stuff like CCI,
I find that it's more of an issue with the platform shooting it. Because if you have a bolt action 22,
yes,
it's going to do it every single time.
But it is cheap. And hey, some of us are poor. That's not. I'm not.
Not me. I'm broke.
I'm not trying to say anything in particular, but like, if you break it down into like what is most cost effective, like if you can shoot 9mm all day and train with it all day, go for it. That's what I do. I can afford to shoot it all day. I go and shoot it all day. If you can't, it might be advantageous for you to dry fire, but it also might be advantageous for you to get.
It's always advantageous to dry fire.
Sure,
but maybe it's not as advantageous to.
It might be more advantageous for you to also buy if you have a Glock. Actually, the Glock 22 pistols, I think, unless they fixed them recently, they might be bad. But hey, if you have a Glock, why not get a 22 trainer?
Dude from Kentucky, the something regular guy, he did that Glock 44 review. It was like 10,000 rounds, and he gave it a thumbs up.
Okay, well then it's
so regular guy training. I think that's what your name is.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's good. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you could potentially do that, and yeah, it's going to cost more money. Like, yeah, for the price of a Glock 44, you could get a conversion kit. You could probably buy a brick, 1,000 rounds of 9, because 1,000 rounds of 9 is around $300.
But the long-term effectiveness.
Yes, because you can go to the store and you can buy 500 rounds of 22 for $20. So $40 gets you 1,000 rounds.
$40.
$40 gets you 1,000 rounds, yeah.
No. $40 gets you 500. They're going for about 8 cents a round now. Good deal.
Really? Okay, well, I haven't bought 22 in a while. I thought it was
We can see who's actually broke in this scenario. Who knows the price of 22?
Yeah. Or, like you said, you can get conversion kits for your AR.
CMMG makes a good conversion kit. They're like $200.
Yeah.
The only downside of the conversion kit for the AR is you're going to have a different point of impact.
Yes, but to be fair, you're also shooting a completely different
cartridge that's going 1,200 feet per second and not 2,900.
And isn't 223 is bigger than 22, right? Like diameter wise?
Just slightly.
Yeah.
So you're getting compression loss in the barrel, but
So you're getting those things, but like if you're training, it doesn't really matter.
If you get a squib with a 22 in your AR, all you have to do is like.
Just shake it out. Yeah, so
not really. You'd have to ramrod it out. So but that's the joke.
I mean, it's look like
I bought one and I never use it because I focus more on training the pistol.
Well, especially with like 223 right now, which is pretty expensive. Like
cheapest stuff you're going to be selling like 40 rounds.
If you're really trying to like go on ammo seek and do like some sharking and you can get it for like maybe under 40 cents a round, maybe, but like 40 to 50 cents a round is like, that's pretty
When you
standard.
consider a whole magazine is going to cost you just about $15 to shoot, it's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, exactly. So I think obviously 9mm is okay. You can get good deals on it, but like, if I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like if you genuinely cannot afford to do it, it is still good for you to. It's still good for you to get out and train live reps. I mean, I would argue.
And that's what we're advocating here is the 22.
Yeah, and so the 22 would be great, and that's the exact same thing that
you can do 5 times the shooting for the same cost, or do the same amount of shooting for 5 times less the cost.
Yeah. I think we hammered that out pretty well. Do you want to hit holsters?
So really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's contrary to your comments, but he has said on here, the biggest reason it isn't reliable is mainly because how people handle the ammo. The primer compound is smeared in the base and rim. It's knocked around in the bag, it will drop loose less than primer. Hence why if you don't throw it back in and let the firing pin another part of the rim, it will fire. Any comments on that?
So you're saying, so the assertion is that if you're jiggling around the box, you're going to separate the primer compound from the rim of the cartridge, and then it's going to. I have personally never experienced that.
I've only had one catastrophic experience with 22, and it was shooting out of a 16-inch, specifically 22 rifle. And this particular case was the rim separated from the case, and thankfully didn't squib, but it blew a ton of it, and I had soot in my face. But that's the only extreme time that I've had a 22 like catastrophically fail.
Who was it that commented that?
Their username is Crash.
Can you see if they respond to? Because I've never experienced that.
Tell them to leave Crash, if I heard you right. Leave a really detailed message, because I'm pretty certain that like both of us want to look into this.
I'm being serious. I'm not trying to like challenge you or anything, but like I've never heard that. I mean, I could see that if you leave your 22 and like if I left it in the ammo can, like out in the rain, like I could see that causing issues with it.
Yeah, but we rummage around ammo a lot inside of ammo cans. Like we
Yes,
throw
but
it in there loose.
we are also putting in center fire cartridges in there. That's why I'm a little interested
I've got a
with
22 can.
I don't. I have it in a box, but also my box, the box that I have it in, I bought it at Royal King the day I went and shot it, and it is Federal Auto something. It's specifically designed for semi-autos.
Where it's
and
gassier.
It just didn't run very well in the gun. I never had an issue. Well, I had a couple issues where the firing pin or firing whatever struck the side of the case, the primer, and it didn't go off. But I never had ever thought to rotate the cartridge around in the chamber so it hit another part of the rim. That actually might be something that we could test out fairly easily and make it into a video.
But I've never had a cartridge not go off, though.
That's great.
But have you, though?
Yes.
You've put 22 in and you go smack, and it doesn't go off?
Yes.
You know what brand it was?
It's Federal. I have it in there.
Oh.
It's Federal.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting to...
So I genuinely think maybe...
We're going to have to buy bricks and bricks of 22, and we're going to...
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
I mean, like, legitimately buy a brick, leave one brick, like, outside, leave another, like...
Also,
put a brick
is
in
it
a
any
tumbler.
particular firearm that it's most common on? Because, like, we've got 22 revolvers, semi-autos, rifles, and, like, what excited to get into this?
And anything else? That's not, like, calling Jacob cute or whatever?
So comment from Brandon. I've done that and it works sometimes. Some 22 LR guns have a high firing pin. Sorry, also have a firing pin that hits 2 parts of the rim for this reason.
Really?
Oh,
Interesting.
we've got...
I've never seen that.
We've got
Also,
some...
discount effect.
We've got some heat inside of the comments here. This is good. I like...
I didn't know that. I mean, and to be honest with you,
I've heard of dual extractor firearms, but I've never heard of dual... Would that be the striker?
Yeah. My experience with 22s is fairly limited. Like, I have a Rossi 1022. Well, it's not a 1022. It looks like a 22.
It's essentially the Ruger 1022.
It's a Ruger 1022, basically. But it's just Rossi. And it's nice. It's great. Then I have that GSG, and then I have a couple of my dad's old 22s, which is, they're both Winchesters. One of them is bolt action with a small little 5-round mag. Nice. Pretty fun. The other one is like a Winchester Model 74, I think, and it has a tube in the back. The magazine is a tube, and it loads from the back. So
you push them in from the stock?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have one of those.
So my experience is fairly limited with 22 pistols, but I could see a dual firing pin for that reason. I'm just not familiar with it. I think that it's unreliable, and I think I would stand to reassert that if I'm taking my 9mm ammo, I can leave that in a case and I can leave it out and I can do whatever to it, and I put it in my gun and it's going to go off.
There's also special types of carry ammo as well. Like I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I'd love to show you right now, but obviously YouTube reasons.
Yeah, YouTube doesn't let us show off guns or ammo.
There's the particular carry ammo that I use has a, I don't know if it's a film or a paste or whatever it is, but it goes in.
Is it 22 or no? It's center fire.
Carry ammo, 9mm.
I don't know. This guy's schizophrenic. I could fully see him carrying a 22 LR, 100%. Anyways, go ahead.
I'm gonna make the jump to 10mm here soon, but
we'll see.
Got okay. The type of ammo that I carry.
I just light bulb. Set of the BCM upper. What if I got that MMP in 10mm?
Or what if you bought me that
I'm not
freaking
buying
Rock
it.
Island?
I'm not buying
Of all the guns I said were ugly, and I'm suggesting me buying a 1911 style firearm. 2011 if you want to get really specific, because it is a double stack. Double stack 10mm. That is a based gun.
Okay, we'll chat about this later. Continue on. Continue on.
The Smith & Wesson is cost effective though. It's only about $700.
Go to our website, purposefirearmament.com. Buy some stuff. We'll use the money from that to buy Jacob the Rock Island 10mm. I'm joking. We're not going to do that. Don't buy any of our stuff. We don't want you to buy any of it. We don't want you to look at any of it. Don't do it.
Don't even consider thinking about buying a battery cell cartridge because
Or a
that is
button guard.
not at all useful for
Or a
people who
button
carry
guard.
optics.
Or a Cyelee. Don't buy a Cyelee.
They
or,
are not cost-effective optics at all.
Or any of our T-shirts. Don't buy any of those.
Yeah, they are not the comfiest things that you've ever worn. They are
Don't-
not made by graphic designers who care about, the end result.
Don't pre-order our Alt 2G that's made in America.
Don't even consider thinking about looking at our knives that we're offering here soon.
Well, those aren't on the website.
That's why I said don't even consider thinking about it.
Okay, anyways, back into what you were saying.
I have no idea what I was saying.
Something about a coating on it. You got something for us, Toby?
Oh, the carry ammo. It's a
After. After
it
this.
blocks moisture from getting into the primer.
Okay.
It's a little blue coating that goes inside the primer.
I've seen that on 223 ammo.
And there's also a reason why most carry ammo that's like really costly is also nickel plated. It's nickel plated brass with
I see.
So that's.
I got you. Hit us, Toby.
So Crash commented back initially before you were asking that. He said, sure thing. For example, standard fiber primers, you have 3 things on a standard primer: cup, compound, and anvil. The anvil helps keep the compound in, especially when seated in the primer socket. This will make it much more reliable. Where areas with rim fire it is smushed in and then the rim is formed when the compound is still wet. Think of the rim fire compound as a weak plaster. Jostling and harsh impacts will knock it loose. That's because nothing holds it in place. He also commented back on something that Brandon said that those ADCs are usually hammer fired and old. So in that, we say Brandon is correct. An example of dual pin 22 rifle.
Hold on, wait, what? You said Brandon is
about
correct?
something?
Oh my God! Screenshot that. We need to put that on Instagram.
No, we're gonna frame that. Whenever we get in the office, we're gonna frame that somebody said Brandon was correct.
That's gonna be the first thing that people see when they walk into our office. It's just gonna be Brandon was correct. Okay, so it's like a plaster compound basically.
I thought he said plasticizer.
Plaster.
Plaster.
Sorry, I'm deaf. Okay.
Also
Speaking
speaking like a toddler, so,
like a toddler?
yeah.
Oh. How do toddlers speak?
Okay, anything else,
I know
Toby?
what that's like.
I wouldn't say so. I mean, this, like I said, they're like full discussion if you'd rather see it yourself. But, yeah.
Okay, so they're chatting back and forth. Good, we like that. We're building a community here. So,
That is good.
by the way, everyone, if there's a name, Brandon's name has a little like a wrench symbol by it.
Yep.
Harass him. I'm joking. Don't harass him. Don't harass him.
Crash recognize that you started a problem.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Everyone,
Well
just be
done.
aware. Brandon is our only moderator. Brandon, if you abuse that power, I'm going to remove you.
Remove you.
Remove you.
Remove.
You will no longer be a moderator. I don't even really know why he is a moderator. I don't remember when I did that or why I did that, but we'll let them guys go. But anyways, yeah, that's interesting about the 22. I think that we should buy some 22 ammo, just a wide range, and I think we should do some testing. I believe you guys. I 100% agree. That's great.
But that's the purpose of our channel.
Yeah.
Is to take stuff like this and provide.
Well, what we can do is we can see
Info.
where the line is.
Yeah.
We can see where the line is.
Well,
Toto made a song about that.
Josh Krause
Hold
also
the line.
Just specifically on the ammo types of 22, that he just used some junk steel case FMJ Russian ammo. That's what it costs.
Junk steel cased Russian ammo that was 22.
Yeah.
I
You
didn't
need
know.
to talk to him. you need to slap him.
When I had like 22 jam, there's some junk steel case FMJ Russian ammo.
Full Metal Jacket 22.
Yeah, they make that.
Is it like for varmin?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen hollow point 22s before.
Yeah, no, I've seen that.
That's a jacketed hollow point. What are we looking like on time, Toby?
It is 7:39.
When did we start?
We've been yapping.
Like
Like 6:15.
6:15, I think.
Oh man, I'm good. Okay, so we've covered 2 topics.
Okay, let's hit number 3. Holsters. Level 1. What? Let me ask you this, Jacob. Continue moderating that. Make sure we don't have anyone,
Asking
Make
any
sure
really,
something
really good questions, yeah.
Those are good questions and good comments too. I like that 22. If Crash didn't say that, would have never known. I would have had no idea. I would have just been out here saying 22 sucks and it's not reliable. But if that's the case, it's still not reliable.
I was saying the opposite.
We understand why.
I said it is reliable. I like it. Maybe I'm just not buying junk 22.
Maybe you're just not. I wonder if that's why the CCI. So the federal stuff I have just comes in a big box, like a big cardboard box. CCI comes and
in the
it's
plastic holder.
in a plastic holder with the rim. It's held by the rim. I wonder if that helps. And it has that plastic that goes straight over it. So I wonder if that helps it not jostle around.
That's the only way I've ever bought ammo.
Well,
Whenever I buy a brick, it's usually a cardboard box that's holding a bunch of those boxes.
yeah, that's not the case for this, which might actually be why it's kind of bad.
But my
never known.
experience is limited and should always be taken with a grain of salt.
Let's hit holsters now. Level 1, is that just one thing that you have to press, or is that just open, like what people sometimes call passive retention? What?
Are you punking me right now?
No, and I'll tell you why I've seen this. The guy from, what's that guy? I think it's Travis Haley,
Who knew
actually.
this guy? Who knew this guy?
No. It was Travis Haley, or it was someone who was with. I know Haley has Haley Strategic. I know, but it was someone who was with.
Is his last name Strategic?
Yes. It was somebody who was with Safariland, and they said this is a level. They said this was a level something. I think he said it was like a level 1, and it just had the little button that you pressed. But then I saw someone else say, and I think it was Lucas Botkin, whenever he was looking at the Ragnarok, which is a passive retention holster, meaning there's nothing, it's just friction that holds it in place. And I think he said that this is a level 1 holster, meaning there's no other retention other than friction. So I don't actually know. That's why I'm asking you, what do you consider? Because I've heard people call it 2 different things.
Okay.
And yeah.
I don't know how the actual systems at play go. There could be multiple systems, it sounds like there is.
Sure.
But the way that I've heard it is it's 0 through 3. Okay. 0 being retentionless. That's what I thought too. Level 1 being it is only either a slide or a button, like the Black Hawk holsters. Those have one tab that you press down,
or like
and then
my Safarilands,
or your Safariland, where you only push
one button. Yeah.
A level 2 holster is quite commonly it's a push down, then forward, and the hood falls off, and that allows you to take it out. But then there's level 3, and there's all sorts of different variations. You can have all that the levels refer to is the amount of steps you have to take before you get the gun out of the holster. And so level 3, which is what I prefer if you're going to wear outside the waistband, is 3 different steps you have to take. So on mine, the thumb motion that you have to make is down, swipe forward, and then swipe down onto a separate tab. So it's down and forward to get the hood and red dot cover off.
Sure.
And then you swipe down to get the retention off of the slide.
That's exactly what I thought too. But the reason I wrote...
So retentionless would be like a level 0.
Yeah. That's why I wrote down in the notes app on my phone, I wrote down the idea for a topic that we were going to talk about. And I wrote down level 1 versus level 3 holsters because I saw that video of Trex, of Lucas, calling his Ragnarok a level 1 holster with the passive retention. And that's why I was like, wait, what?
Maybe he was stirring the pot? Because
I'm sure
I think I've also seen things where I know this is a separate topic, but like plates have all sorts of different specifications on what they can handle. Mm-hmm. And there's different types of plates. There are some that are composites, there are some that are ceramic, there are some that are strictly steel, which don't wear steel plates.
No.
You're going to get shot and then you're going to go get shrapnel all up in your jawline and shrapnel all up in your junk. Not worth it. The plate carrier is not going to stop shrapnel. Get some sort of spalling protection.
I feel like a race car driver, dude. I have to keep steering you back on track.
Tell
Toby liked it, right?
That's not too hard. Just go left.
Well,
There are a lot of facets about NASCAR that make it really interesting.
okay, no. Focus.
Dog box transmissions
Holster.
are really cool.
Holsters.
Okay.
Holsters.
Let me at least dive back into plates just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Boo.
He's supposed to be our like producer. I don't know why he's yapping so much. I'm joking.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Toby.
You don't get paid to yap.
Hey, we got some good food. We got some barbecue
Yeah.
and some good food.
Which you
Anyways.
had like none of the ribs and none of
No, I had
any of the other types of meat
I-
on that plate.
Yeah, I had the hot link sausage too. I really like spicy stuff, so I had hot link sausage with hot sauce.
Back on track. We're
Yeah.
talking about holsters.
Holsters.
But first, plates. Because some people call there's an NIJ standard.
There
it's
is.
a company. It's a company who tests plates.
Mhm.
Hesco abides by these standards strictly. And that's why Trex sells them, because they abide by the NIJ standards really, really strictly. And so whenever any sort of plate company that is making armor and they ever say level 3 plus, just don't buy it. Just don't. Because they're not abiding by the NIJ standard. There is no such thing as level 3 plus.
That I did not know. But I also bought the Hesco L210s, the special threat plates.
Well, yeah, I have those as well. Those are nice plates for what they're rated for.
Yeah.
They're a cost-effective solution, and they're not heavy.
Swear
Those abide by a strictly level 3 NIJ standard.
Sure.
They're not level 4. They're not going to stop a 30-06. So if you have an armor penetrator and you got
So-
some Bubba round that some redneck put in his,
So
bolt action,
what
you're
you're trying to say, I think, is there is not necessarily there is a rating system for what the retention of a holster is.
I think there is. I just don't know what it is.
Okay. I'm only saying this because I saw T-Rex say that his Ragnarok was a level 1, and I was like, I thought level 1 was a physical additional step that you have to take to pull the gun out.
As much as I would love to agree with Lucas Botkin, I will say this. I have a
don't agree.
Safariland that is a level 1. Meaning, I put my hand
On the gun.
and I go, whoop, one motion of the thumb, and the hood comes down. That's a level 1 retention. Meaning, if I were just to only grab the gun and yank up, it would hit the hole. It would hit the
Retention
loop.
system, yeah.
Right. Level 2, meaning you have to go down with your thumb and then forward. If you try to go forward first, it's locked out and you can't. You have to go down first and then push it forward. That's 2 actions. I think the system is based on how many actions you have to perform.
I would argue with that.
Because
yeah,
with the Ragnarok, you don't have to perform any actions. You just
don't.
rip it out.
You don't. And the thing about passive retention, I'll say this, I venture to bet you'll probably agree.
Safarilands don't have friction-based locks, though.
Sure.
You can, if you've got it the angle just right, you can drop a gun into a Safariland and a little.
Yeah, because it
Lock.
like clicks. Yeah, because it's a physical. It's like a piece of plastic.
Right, but there
basically.
is no friction. Like once you undo the lock, it slides out, or at least it should slide out. If it's not sliding out, you probably put it in there wrong. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
maybe that's where he's trying to take the step and say because you can tighten.
Yeah. I will admit, with my Ragnarok, I run a Ragnarok for my Glock and also my Shadow Systems, like Gen 4 Glocks. I've not had any issues with the retention on the pistol itself, with it staying inside the holster whenever I need it to stay inside the holster.
Like if you're upside down on the monkey bars.
If I'm running, if I'm laying prone, if I'm crawling through the woods, all things I've done, I don't have the retention screws tightened like super tight to where it's like
Where you lift up the
impossible to
gun,
get it
you
out.
lift up your holster as well.
Yeah, but like I have it decently tight and it works. Now you mentioned the monkey bars. I have taken the gun. I see a lot of people when they test this, by the way, I'm going to call this out.
They flip the holster upside down?
They flip the holster upside down and they squeeze on the kydex and then they shake.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
the
that
gun's
doesn't
not
do
going to come
anything.
out. You're holding it.
I
You
wish
have
I
to
could do
hold
that.
it-
I wish I could do that right now for the audience, but I can't.
You can't. You have to hold it by the clips.
I do not like you, YouTube,
Yeah.
but I understand a little bit.
Anyways,
That was
so,
a finger towards you, YouTube.
So our we are in the partnership program, so maybe someone from YouTube is watching right now, and maybe they're
For real?
learning something.
Yeah. I mean, this is all educational stuff. We're not promoting anything that is crazy.
But back on the holster thing, I can take that Ragnarok and I can hold it by like the clips basically,
And it'll fall out.
by the well, not the clips. I guess it's like I can hold it
The
by like
edges.
the QLS fork.
Yeah.
Or
Because
like
then
the
you're only
edges.
holding on one side.
Yeah, or like where the screws are at, you can hold it there, and then I can shake it and
Maybe
it'll stay
don't
in
make
there.
that motion on camera.
Sorry, I can shake it up and down, and it will stay in the holster for a while. It takes.
And it's going to start sliding out.
Yeah, it starts sliding out, but like it's fine. And really, what I wanted to touch on with this was like, because there are a lot of people that are like, those holsters are bad. They're not safe. Your gun's going to be able to easily fall out. It's like, dude, I've owned a Ragnarok since I got that Glock, and that was 4 or 5 years ago, and it has been fine the whole entire time.
Yeah.
You're good, Toby.
The only thing that I'll add on to that, because it's obviously a lot of this stuff is all like my opinion here. So it's like, a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, you can't get that type of holster because it's unsafe." Well, it's unsafe in certain areas. Like if you're an officer and you're to use a retentionless
Yep.
holster,
Yep.
yeah, somebody's gonna grab your gun and get it.
I will
That is
say,
not okay.
I would not open carry, period, for plenty of reasons. But I would not open
Numerous
carry.
reasons.
I would not open carry with the Ragnarok.
No,
I would also not use the Ragnarok. Surprisingly enough, even though I just spent time saying it's fine. I've never had an issue with it. I also wouldn't use it if I had like a duty setup. Like, man, it's really hard to. We're working within YouTube's guidelines here. We'll say life and liberty. If I was in a life and liberty situation, I would not put that pistol in a Ragnarok. I would put it in something with retention, which happens for me to be a Safariland, just because I think it would be. I would not have to worry about it. And if you're coming into contact with people, potentially you want something locked away, even if it's just a single lever. It's still a deterrent, because someone who doesn't know and they just see, the memes on like, Instagram,
the
where
dinosaur
it's
sticky
like,
hand.
yeah, the dinosaur hand, yeah, with the
grabby thing.
officer's Glock. If you like someone who doesn't know and they come up and they try and grab your gun, I've seen it before on police body cam. You can watch this. People will come up and try and take the gun, and they can't get it out of the holster, and it's locked. And now you can retain that thing down and get control of the situation. That's simply why I wouldn't, because if you're doing a Ragnarok,
Oh, congratulations!
gone.
You have now successfully revoked your membership to life.
yeah, it's over. And I will say, their active self-protection, it's a good-ish YouTube channel. I don't like watching people
Unalived.
be unalived, but I did see a video of a guy in a gas station. He was open carrying. He had a passive retention holster, and some dude just walked up
Yoinked
behind
it.
him and just took the gun and pointed it at him and walked out and just stole the gun off of the guy's belt. I mean, that's an embarrassing phone call to the police. That's a real embarrassing one. So I wouldn't do that.
I will say this. This is from personal experience, because obviously I have an extreme interest in firearms. I work in construction, and there are some sites where we have to have security guards, and some others where we don't. Especially whenever we worked in the gas industry. I say we, myself. But
Oh yeah, I don't do manual labor. You
Well-
cannot catch me with that.
yeah.
I'll be posted up in air conditioning.
Okay.
In fact, I actually hate people in manual labor. I'm joking. I don't.
Love that.
I'm actually joking. I really do. This is all.
I can't win.
I'm kidding.
What
Go
I'm
ahead.
getting to is, and I don't know what I'm rooting to say whenever I say this, but I'm sure you're going to have something to add to it whenever I'm done.
Yeah.
I've talked to a security guard who is not an officer. I've talked to a police officer who doesn't care. I've talked to plenty a off-duty officer, tons of these different scenarios, and I asked them about gun and holster setups. And I'm like, why? What do you prefer? How is it working for you? What type of training did you receive? Do they offer more training? And most of it is extremely limited.
Yeah.
They don't get the training they need except for one division. One division that I have met who have got lots of training and actually did a one-on-one with me for like a good 2 hours. And I really appreciate this guy. He used to work in the jails. And I didn't even know he was a gun guy. And I was talking to him about, some different holsters that I got. And he was like, you have to push buttons to get your gun out of the holster? And that's when I was like, yeah, well, it's the Safariland this. And he goes, I had that exact same holster whenever. You guys just want to say what you're saying?
7:55.
7:55. Okay, I was like, what?
Do you have a time limit?
I mean, how late?
That probably shouldn't stay too much past 8 because I got that.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're wrapping up.
Okay, yeah.
The point being, got talking to this guy about my holster that I just bought, which is the level 3 retention, and it's not the standard police issue. The one that I got is actually more common in jails, and I'm not uncertain as to why, but it's the configuration of what your thumb has to do to get the gun out. But then he and I bonded over that we had the same holster, and he actually showed me, he's like, because of that holster, you are able to focus on the threat first, and you don't have to worry about them getting into your gun.
Yeah.
So he said, the number one thing people get confused is whenever you're working with a retentioned holster is that, and again, this is from my experience and what I've heard from somebody, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
This is not to defend your own life here.
Yeah.
But if somebody's trying to get to your gun, they're focused on the gun. He said oftentimes, the few times he had to deal with it, he would just get an arm lock around their head and then be able to just drop them. Because they're so focused on getting the gun. They think that's their key out. They think they're going to win. But he's like, they don't know how to get the gun out. And so he's able to manhandle them, which lift weights.
Yeah, that's a fair. Yeah.
Because you want to be physically bigger than whoever you're dealing with. That being said, just because you have a gun doesn't mean every problem is going to be solved with a gun. Yada, yada. But I guess I wanted to bring that up because he is the only one that I've met who actually had valuable information on the setup that he had. And, the information that he had because it protected his life because he had numerous incidents where inmates would try to get his firearm and he had to protect his own life. That's based.
Yeah.
Did we cover that topic as well as you wanted?
I completely agree. The only thing that I would add is concealed holsters. Obviously, there's no retention on secured concealed holsters because your
that would
shirt,
be harsh.
your garment is already, the fact you're concealing it and your garment is in the way are already kind of the retention factors, right? Do an experiment if you carry a gun. Go to just for the week. Tally up how many times people have recognized that you have a gun.
Oh, most of the time you can't even.
Probably zero. It's probably very close to zero, unless you find someone who's like schizo like us, and they can just barely see the little print of the magazine. But in most cases,
those people you don't have to worry about because they're probably also carrying a gun.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think you should do this. But if you went out and open carried for a week,
you're gonna get a lot of strange looks.
Every single person, dude.
It changes the dynamic.
It is crazy. But now they know that you have a gun. And I'm not trying to make this like a what should you do thing necessarily, but if somebody knows you have a gun and they know where it's at and they know how to get to it, you need to have that retention so that you can secure the firearm so that you don't just get ran up on and it just gets taken.
Yeah.
But if no one knows that you have the gun, you don't really need to have an extra layer of retention on top of your holster because no one knows you have the gun. Why would someone target you to come and take your gun if no one knows you have it?
And also, the position that you carry said firearm is also pretty critical.
Yes.
Appendix, you have an extreme knowledge about what is going on right here.
Yeah.
And if push comes to shove, guess what? Just armadillo.
Yeah.
Or if you're in the north, just Pillbug. And they're not going to get it out. That's
Comments?
Not for a while.
None for a while? Okay. Cool. We didn't hit every single thing that we wanted to.
That was weak.
That was horrible. That was
It
a
was
little
okay.
bit better. No.
Leave me hanging.
We hit basically everything we wanted to.
I didn't hit you.
You just...
In the face.
Oh, well, yeah, you're not going to do that.
And you didn't fastball pitch a radio at me this
That is
morning.
true.
Missed the opportunity there.
Yeah, we lost that opportunity. So, we appreciate you guys for watching.
He has the opportunity to do something really funny right now.
I have plugged it multiple times. Don't throw anything, Toby.
I can see the radio in his hand right now.
I've plugged it multiple times. That stuff is disgusting, by the way.
Have you drank out of this?
No. It is literally...
Why, it's open! How have you not drank out of it?
I couldn't remember. I took like a sip. It's...
Yeah, I don't want to
you
get
know what it
whatever
was?
you will
My
contract
fiance was
me.
like, oh, I'm dehydrated. So I got
Gator
her
Light?
this. I got her this because it has 1,000 milligrams of salt in it. I was like, you need this if you're dehydrated. And she did one sip and she's like, oh, this is gross. I'm like, yeah, you just need to drink it to hydrate yourself. We're not going for like your taste here.
Good God.
Yeah.
490 milligrams of sodium per serving.
This is like if you're...
If you're in the desert. Wow.
Or you had a long night of drinking.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
that's the route you took with that.
But
Okay.
anyways, please, guys, if you're interested, check out our website, purposeformovement.com. We got some cool stuff there. We're gonna try and do these live streams more often. I think we could
This
do
was
it.
fun.
I
This
think
was
we could do
funner
it
than
maybe
the.
once a month.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mean in person once a month. We might have to switch it up and do like a virtual, like we can do like a Zoom thing or something.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a good way to like interact with you guys and talk with everyone. And the VOD is going to be available afterwards. So, hey, free content, boys. Am I right? If somebody wants to sit down and watch
You are
a 2-hour video.
If what you do is with your free time listen to two idiots talk up against a brick wall, props.
This is actually cinder block.
What did I call them?
Brick.
I can't win.
I'm just saying.
1911 suck.
I'm a Class A USPSA shooter. I'm one away from Master. That was an impression of someone in our audience. But yeah, anyways, we appreciate it. Toby said there were no more comments, so I think that we will close it off here. We'll just do it more often, and we'll be big chillin'. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.